It's easy, why dumping on it.
Okay, this week's Torah Parsha is called Vayera, which means, and he appeared. It's in Genesis, chapter 18 through 22. And then the Haftarah reading this week is 2 Kings, chapter 4, verses 1 through 23. And then the Brit Hadashah reading is Luke, chapter 17, verses 28 through 37. Here is a calendar so you can see a projection of what this month of October will look like. And then you can see as it follows week to week reading. You start Sunday. A reading from the interlinear Chumash. Haftarah Vayera, 2 Kings, chapter 4, verses 1 through 37. Verse 1. A certain woman of the wives of the disciples of the prophets cried out to Elijah, saying, Your servant, my husband, has died, and you know that your servant was one who fears Hashem, but the creditor has come to take my 2 sons for himself as slaves. Say to her, did Elijah, What shall I do for you? Tell me, what is there for you in the house? She said, There is not for your maidservant anything in the house except for a cruse of oil. He said, Go, borrow for yourself vessels from the outside, from all your neighbors, vessels that are empty. Do not be sparing. Then go in and shut the door upon yourself and upon your sons, and you shall pour from the cruse over all the vessels, and you shall pour from the cruse over all these vessels, and each full one you shall remove. She went from him, and she shut the door upon herself and upon her sons. They were bringing vessels to her, and she was pouring. Then it was, when nearly filled were the vessels, she said to her son, Bring to me another vessel. And he said to her, There is not another vessel. And stopped did the oil. She came and she told the man of God. And he said, Go, sell the oil and pay your creditors, and you and your sons will live on the remainder. It happened one day in travel did Elijah to Shunem, and there dwelt a woman who was prominent, and she pressed him to eat bread. And so it was each time of his traveling through, he would turn there to eat bread. She said to her husband, Behold, now I know that he is a man of God, holy is he. He travels to us regularly. Let us make now an upstairs area enclosed by a wall that is small, and let us place for him there a bed and a table and a chair and a candelabrum, and it will be when he comes to us he can turn into there. It happened one day he came there, and he turned to the upstairs area, and he lay down there. He said to Gehazi, his attendant, Call this Shunammite woman. He called her, and she stood before him. Elijah said to Gehazi, Say now to her, Indeed, you have concerned yourself about us, all of this concern. What is there to do for you? Is there something to be spoken on your behalf to the king or to the commander of the army? She said, Among my people do I dwell. So he said to Gehazi, What is there for us to do for her? Gehazi said, In truth, a child there is not unto her, and a husband is old. Elisha, call her. Gehazi called her, and she stood in the doorway. Elisha said, At this season next year you will be embracing a son. She said, Do not, my master, O man of God, do not speak falsely about your maidservant. Conceive did the woman, and she bore a son at that season the next year, as he had spoken to her, Elisha. And grow up did the boy. And it happened one day that he went out to his father to the reapers. He said to his father, My head, my head. His father said to the servant, Carry him to his mother. He carried him, and he brought him to his mother. He sat on her lap until noontime. Then he died. She went up and laid him upon the bed of the man of God. She shut the door upon him, and she left. Then she called to her husband, and she said, Send now to me one of the servants and one of the donkeys, so that I may run to the man of God, and I will return. He said, Why are you going to him today? It is not a new moon, and it is not a Sabbath. She said, It is well.
Watch. Stomping on it.